Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
We are good. We have been summoned.
Yeah, as always, as always.
Yes. Oh, this one has something floating around on her eyelashes. Yes. Let's see if
Well,
we
you
can
guys,
help her. There.
you get that
We got
squared
we got
away.
yes.
I love it. I'm so excited to chat with you guys today. I feel like I get to ask you guys questions that aren't really related to me.
Wonderful. We look forward to it.
Yeah. So our topic is going to be your live speaking event that's coming up this weekend.
Yes.
How are you guys feeling about it?
We are looking forward to it. It has been some time since they put us in front of, an audience we could sniff up physically, yes?
It has. It absolutely has.
So it is, joyful anticipation of gathering of beings and exploration of, very mattering, very important, very real conversation, yes?
Mhm.
What is truly occurring? Uh, Beyond sometimes that which is readily seeable or understandable in this time when so much is stretching, yes? Mhm.
Yeah. When you guys say stretching, what do you mean by that?
We often will talk with you all. Someone introduced us to the word bandwidth, yes?
Mhm.
We have a little fun with it because your world is shifting and changing, of course, and it is very important. Of course, people are pulling and pushing in differing directions, sometimes very opposing directions. And so, you always come in with everything you need, and yet perhaps haven't practiced. And so, in this time, there's a bit of need to kind of soften and open and allow more room for that stretch or that bandwidth to open, without fear, with thoughtfulness, with awareness and availability. In softening, you actually make more room in yourself and in existence for whatever direction, whatever is most important, whatever is most real for yourself to move with and perhaps to share with others. And
Yeah.
so that's what we mean by, stretch.
I love that. So your speaking topic, I'm gonna jog your memories,
Okay.
is live life in the heart of desire in a
Yeah.
world of chaos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we really living in chaos?
Well, chaos isn't necessarily a negative thing, yes?
Totally.
It depends on when you show up. And we would offer to you that most individuals would say, no matter what their idea or opinion or belief is, that the world is a bit chaotic right now because there are so many uh, really rising voices and not agreeing, yes, always. We always talk about getting down underneath, what's being said underneath into what's actually desired. Because you can push and pull and fight against and pick your team and grow your team or whatever it is. And yet until you really get into recognizing what's motivating everything you're doing, then you can't really know if you're in true alignment or not. And so we also recognize that humans, while absolutely having very, very differing ways and beliefs and ideas and values for how they live their life or how they see society, the importance is there when we can move with you to kind of get down, maybe, into the heart, into what is actually driving or calling for or reaching with uh, a change. Yes. People even very strongly opposing each other when they really get to what it is are never very far apart because you're humans and you're humans in union and you're all connected. And so that central pulse, that central source of pulse that moves in all of you, while you, of course, arrive into lots and lots of differings there in your world with your personalities all associated. When you really are willing to move into the heart of desire, chaos isn't frightening. It can be curious. It can be certainly a challenge, yes. Differences aren't devastation. They're opportunities, they're possibilities. When you soften, when you are willing to listen and speak and know the equal value of that with yourself, with one another. And when you make room, that is why we talk so much about opinions are a closed circuit. And so if you just come in with a strong opinion, you're not willing to listen any longer, there's no conversation because there's no curiosity. And so to live in the heart of desire, that's really just such an extraordinary space of curiosity from which anything and everything can be birthed and created and molded and caused and grown. And so it is, we wanted to talk that if you just wake up and you read the news or you know listen to people saying all of the things that are occurring, it can start to feel rather devastating or chaotic or hopeless or you know, make you just want to crawl in a hole maybe. Yes, or send other people to a hole. And yet, and you can take that breath each day, your own breath, and you can have a conversation with yourself that has curiosity in it and look at the world curiously with your heart of desire, with what's so powerfully mattering to you, even if you don't have a detail or a, you know, specificity around it. Perhaps it's just a sense or feeling that you know when that's in a day or a moment, it's been a good moment. It's been a succulent moment that has something in it for you and for humanity. When you can do that, and know that your opinion is important, your voice is important. Noticing if it is your voice, you know, there's just so many things. We just like to have an opportunity to talk with humans that it's not one or the other. It's not the chaos or the conflict or the challenges of the world or my happiness and well-being and feeling really good about being in this world alive in this time and timing. It's all of it together. And we can clarify and move and come into that sort of relationship with yourself, then you can know and sense and feel how you are an ad and how all other movements are an ad, and you're a chooser. So you might not create the same outcome or experience or interaction with everything as the person next to you or across the room from you or across the world from you, but you can know that it is actually a together, because you get underneath. You cannot, when you truly get underneath, you cannot mistake another for not being yourself also.
That's beautiful. And there's so much there.
Mm.
Would you say that, you know, if my memory serves me correctly, you guys have been coming through that one for 23 years. And in 23 years, when you guys speak about, I want to get the word right, like in the heart of desire, would you say that we are, and by we, I mean humans. Apparently, I'm speaking on behalf of all humans at this point, but I'm in the room. I'm in the room. Is that we get a little twisted or confused or just not clear around what the true desire is in our hearts. Have you seen that? Have you experienced that?
There's so many strands or ways to move with that conversation. Yes. And so let us just speak about that everything is vibration first. And we bring that in because as you're expressing in the heart of desire, when you can pause and feel those things vibrationally, when you can breathe a full breath with yourself insatiating pause, with that energy, then that's the easiest route to know, oh, this is accurate for me, because you feel it, it sets home. And if you don't, then give yourself a little shimmy, sit with yourself again, and then see if you can still yourself long enough to feel it. Because what happens is people are so busy kind of being afraid of themselves, that you reach outside to get your confidence, your awareness, your knowing, your own saliva, yes, your way of being, and it's never outside of you. So heart of desire is so extraordinarily intimate. And when you speak about desire and even heart, it's not one tone. So it isn't about, I need to find that one thing. It's actually allowing it to become, this vast movement through all of the notes of you. And you start to feel it. And you know when something is true. And you know when it's not, or when it's maybe almost, but not quite there. If you come out of the urgency or the panic to assess or define it, and instead you come into the breathfulness of, as I look around in the midst of me and in the midst of the world around me, in the midst of existence, this is what really is my nourishment, and what I crave to participate in nourishing or having be part. It's really so easy, even when you think it's been so hard, knowing that note of truth within yourself through stilling. And it doesn't mean you have to, practice sitting in quiet for hours and hours a day. You can, and that if that's your thrill, then listen to that, because that's part of your heart of desire. And you all have your own way of you, which is what's associated with your spirit, with who you are in spirit. What is the way of you? When you sit with, that energy and your heart energy and soul energy and your mind, your true mind energy, and it can be a moment, and your yes or your no. So that is what we would speak to around that, is remembering to open it in the consciousness with vibration first. Much faster track than sorting through heaps and heaps and piles and things all over the place that you're trying to assess yourself through. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you can start to notice, what is your match? What are you called to? What feels depthful and beautiful and fun and have to for you. Yes, absolutely. That heart of desire.
You kind of took my words, because I was gonna say, TMG, it's just not that easy sometimes.
We know.
And
We
you're
know that story. We've heard that story. And we say, okay.
Yeah, let me shift my verbiage. It just doesn't feel as easy sometimes.
Absolutely. We recognize that absolutely within the, heart of desire, in the chaos within you. Yes. And it's true. And it is true that it doesn't feel easy, and okay. And then take another breath, and do you want to have a different experience, or be curious about it, or move with it, or discover or find out? Because humans are really, most all of the ache and pain and brutality and violence in your world is because people are trying to clench themselves into something so small and so still and so uncomfortable. And then of course, the rage has to come from that to, try to battle your way out, or, find a way. And yet it's just take a breath, and it's not easy, or it doesn't feel easier. My experience has been, it's not easy. Okay, absolutely. Just don't stop your story there. Reach for, and do I choose to have a different experience with that? Or do I want to embrace that and find my way with that? Or just make it yours, though, whatever it is you do with it, make it yours, because that really, really helps to alleviate the ache and the hard and the, the difficulty. It isn't that because we've had people say, I'm just trying to reach the place in life where it's just euphoric and I'm just happy all the time and all I do is love. And we say love has all kinds of expressions. Yes. And so does euphoria. So it's really that you're looking to show up and be curious and find out and call in what you need in a moment and offer what you need to offer that somebody's calling for from you that you have, that you're, happy to be an ad for it. It's not really so complicated, except for there's this story that gets stopped way too soon. And so if you're not happy with the ending of a thought or a moment, if you're not feeling your breathfulness, then tell yourself more of the story, the true story though. And if it's hard, doesn't feel like a good ending, then be willing to take a breath, open your curiosity and see what other possibilities there are. And if hard is okay, you just want to decide how you move with it, how you feel about it, what that is for you, then do that. Bring your heart. Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I was honored enough to participate in a meditation series that you guys did. This was a minute ago. Might have been the relief meditation series.
Mm-hmm.
Checking to make sure that's accurate. I believe it is. And there was something that was in the mind portion of that meditation series that I don't know if you guys intended it to be a tool of any sort, but I certainly have taken it into my life and made it a tool for me. So I wanted to share it and see if that's what you're talking about. And if it's not, please set me straight. And then specifically, when I personally catch myself, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this, at least there's a part of me that's hoping that they can at this that I've walked myself into this, is like a looping thought that I know doesn't serve me. Like I know that it doesn't. You can feel it, you can sense it, you can listen to it, you can hear yourself speaking, and you know that it's just very inaccurate, but it's looping, right? And for my own sense of awareness in that, I've learned to like not hit the thoughts with a baseball bat.
Yes. Don't go against them.
Don't try to whack them out of the park.
Don't try to lock them in a box either.
No, it doesn't get you a home run, right?
Yeah.
There was something in that mind meditation, and it was a meditation. It was an attunement as well. But there was a line that you guys had shared around trust your mind. So when I'm in those moments for myself, and I can sense it, and that's really the most annoying part of it for me personally, is I'm aware of it and I still just do it. But anyway, I say to myself, okay, mind, like I fully trust you, and I trust like our whole partnership with everything that we've been. And in a nanosecond, it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that what you're referring to?
Absolutely. Because and just, even people to hear, like we could sense and feel, anybody even tapping in the vibration of this conversation. Yes. And trust your mind. Yes, because only do you not have your own kind of wrestling match with your mind often, or many humans do. You've been kind of taught that the mind isn't to be really valued as much. It's to be valued for its logic and its way to figure things out and that sort of thing, but to not really trust it. It'll play tricks on you. We believe that's such a prevalent, your mind will play tricks on you. Will it really? It's we know what they're addressing, what they're talking about. And yet that is like such a cautionary tale about what you need your relationship with your mind to be, that can really wreak a little bit of havoc. Yes. In how you develop. So it is when you don't try to run from it, it'll just get louder. Yes. When you don't try to lock it in a box, and so it's punching its way out, or you don't try to, heave ho it or whatever it is. And instead it's saying, I trust my mind. It's what your mind is screaming for. Your actual, authentic, original mind it didn't come in to be against you. Nothing did. Nothing of you did. Everything of you is there to be of yourself, on your side, for you to be who you are, who you develop into and create, cause, and shift and change with in your lifetime. And so that's the relief your mind is looking for, is that relationship for you to have with it. And then it can, because if you're in a I don't trust my mind relationship, it'll follow that direction and maybe play tricks on you, or give you something, that is looping, and you don't know how to get rid of it. When you speak with it, just like any aspect, anything, we say, sit down, have a cup of tea with it, show up, ask it what it needs. And in this instance, that tool is, let me let you know that I'm going to trust you. And again, if there's people like that's hitting the screechers, yes, then I'm opening us, creating a new relationship together where trust is really a high value we have together. Yes. So I might not be there yet, and yet I can have a yes for me to get there. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. And so then, yeah, because your mind goes, oh, good, you hit the button. We have relief. Let's move on. I don't need to keep throwing something in there to get you to do something different so that you can be free. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fascinating when I share that very personal thing.
Mhm.
And as you guys were leaning into and maybe stirring a bit more clarification to it, I also had that I wasn't referring to thoughts specifically when I said I trust my mind. And I think perhaps, right, as you called it out, that there are many teachings around that in what we have access to.
Absolutely.
But they are really centered around thoughts. And I did not mean it that way. I meant it in like the vibration of my mind. I trust.
Oh, yes,
Oh, sure,
yes.
you did
Well, that's the
clarify
job
it.
the job the mind does. So yes, well, it's all in there together though, because the vibration of your mind is producing that. And you have your thinking, processing mind, and you have your being mind, yes, which is your connective mind that, travels with everything. And yet truly you are taught to question so much about your mind itself, because how can an accurate mind be producing thoughts that don't feel good or that aren't accurate? And so, and as you're growing as children, often people with the best intention through fearful loving will tell you that, your mind's not right. Yes. How can you have that thought? That thought is so wrong, or you didn't get the right answer. You need to get your mind to work better. And so you start setting up this almost, opposing relationship with your mind. And how do you trust it when it feels like your competitor or your interrupter or something? Yes. And so it's taking that breath and feeling, that mind, not, and as you pointed out, not just the thoughts, which are the outcome, the mind, the vibration of your mind itself. I trust. And you trust it though, to know how to move with every experience you've ever had. Your mind is the great library. It has access to every moment you have ever experienced, consciously and subconsciously, not consciously, in your life. And it has this great ability to put lots of combinations of things together. And yet, so sometimes it'll get caught on a loop, and it might be an inaccurate loop of a thought. So have a conversation with it, because you trust your mind. Because your mind then can shift what thought is looping, or just completely, dissolve it. Yes.
Yes.
Or sometimes even bring it in stronger so that you can have an awareness you need to get to the nugget of and move on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bring that specifically in because um live life in the heart of desire. And you guys do have such a fantastic teaching around Arc of Union. And, as I was asking about the heart of desire, and you were really talking about the inner conversation, does it stand true that you can't really leave a piece of you out in any of those conversations? Like that is the heart of desire.
Well, people do it all the time, yes. And yet when you don't is when you get that sweet spot, or that that sense of movement or that, transformation is when you do bring, and just to clarify, the arc of union is, bringing those roommates, your heart, your soul, your mind, and your spirit together at a round table, and having them understand and be able to state, while the others listen, their each one's true value, what it is for you as a life. Yes. And what it brings to that. And then listen to the others as they speak, and then they can all you can put a project on the table. This is what I need help with, or this is what I'm moving with. And then they can move as a team, a truly cohesive team, instead of, sometimes on a battlefield where they're all upset with each other because they haven't been valued by one another. And so calling your inner team of your arc of union together to, because you want to, you do trust them, and you want to move with them to trust the wholeness of the relationship you have in there. And it really is, because your heart of desire isn't just about your heart. Yes, it's about the center, the nectar of what your essence is, and what your yes is about, or was about, or continues or opens to being about as you express a lifetime. And so it is, yes, bringing that internal world together. Your heart of desire isn't outside of you, it's inside of you. And that heart of desire can have a great desire, a great absoluteness for participating with and pulsing with and causing and inventing and, creating and manifesting and, bringing in that inhale and exhale together with life. Absolutely. That's the saliva glands, really flowing. And so it isn't, I'm separate from everything, because you're not. There's no division. There's certainly the practice of it, but not a truth of it. So when you can really let yourself land in that cranking arc of union, and let your heart of desire know that it's about your existence, you as a being and an essence interacting with the world first, and through that, moving with the different things that are going on in the world that feel good to you or don't feel good to you, feel exciting and life-giving to you, feel threatening and confusing to you. You get to breathe your breath and bring, what do I need, and what's my piece here, and also what can I be an answer for? Yes.
Yes. Let me ask one more question. Okay. How do you guys see the Dare to Be Aware Fair as, how do I want to say this, as contributing to a larger conversation collectively? So if somebody was thinking about coming to the fair, in general, or even more specifically coming to speak with you guys, how do you guys see this event in Brookfield as a part of a larger conversation?
Well, it's like several pieces of a edgeless conversation coming together in one space for a few hours. Yes. And so it's like this smorgasbord of, whether it is somebody who just wants to kind of go and get a taste and a feel of something they haven't known before. You can go kind of anonymously if you want to, and just kind of be drawn to wherever you're drawn, or you're in it, or you're partially in it, or, whatever it is. It's stepping into an extremely loving environment filled with people who are so focused on their desire to cause more union. Yes, to really open the heart and the essence and the truth of what the world is, no matter how many stories that don't feel like that, or experiences that you've had, or of others having, or you read about across the world. It's bringing a pulse together. So, what gathers in that building that day, and all of those yeses, doesn't stay in that building in those hours. So when you come, whether again you're just beginning to be curious, or you're in, or you're a vendor, or you're a speaker, or it's that dare. The dare to be aware, not as a caution, like I dare you to do it, but as a, let's remember that we can relieve and release those boundaries, or those those ideas, or the way things that keep us in that smaller thing, and just open and spread out. And as you do that, that energy, that vibration kind of starts to pulse and move, and the whole world will be gifted by the love and not just as the mass of the love that day, but every individual exchange of love and loving that will go on synergized, in this space where people are just saying yes to love that is of loving, something extraordinary, and intentionally leaning in with themselves and together, and to be in that next breath. Earlier this year we talked about that the lean into union, believe it or not, has gone long enough now that your actual planet has opened into more breathfulness. Yes. And your planet is edgeless. It's always remained union. And yet in its relationship with humanity, there's just more room, more possibility, more promise. And so now come and be a part of an event that's about acceptance and appreciation and valuing and loving and embrace, just step in, dare to allow yourselves to know that not only within yourself and in your most brilliant moments and in your secret quiet, I'm just going to keep it for me light moments, just let it be in and amongst, because that's it. That room might feel like chaos. There's so many different things going on, and yet there's this, well, we would say there's countless strands of connectivity. And with every inhale and every exhale, you get to go experience it or go help cause it. And that's whether you're a participant or, you're coming in to look around, you're helping to cause more love in the world.
Yeah.
And so dare leaning into that, letting yourself have it and letting yourself be part of that answer that is being sought in your world now.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much.
Indeed, our pleasure. Absolutely. Be well, our friend.